All right, let's talk about one of the most common and, let's be real, one of the most frustrating experiences on the internet today. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You're just trying to read an article, maybe browse a shop, and bam, your entire screen gets hijacked by a pop-up demanding you agree to cookies. And the only obvious way to get past it seems to be that big, inviting accept all button. This isn't just an accident. It's a very specific design choice, and it has a name. Yep, it's called a cookie wall, and the concept couldn't be simpler. It's a forced trade. You hand over your data privacy, and in return, they let you see the content. The problem isn't really about the cookie itself. It's about the fact that your consent is no longer a choice. It's become the price of admission. So let's really break down why this wall is such a huge deal for our privacy and our ability to choose what happens with our data online. A core principle of major data privacy laws, like Europe's GDPR, is this idea of freely given consent. As you can see, that means you have a genuine choice, the ability to say no thanks without being punished for it. A cookie wall is the complete opposite of that. When saying no means you get locked out of the website entirely, well, that's not a real choice, is it?
And this is where it gets really sneaky. It's basically coercion dressed up as web design. You often see these dark patterns, like a giant bright green accept button right next to a tiny, barely visible link to manage your actual preferences. What this creates is a kind of two-tiered internet. One for people who just click accept, and a much worse experience or no access at all for anyone who actually cares about their privacy.
So you give in, you click accept. What happens in that split second? Well, it's not just one little cookie. Instantly, a bunch of tracking cookies get lodged in your browser, assigning you unique IDs to watch what you do. That data often gets shared with tons of advertising partners who then build these super detailed profiles about you that follow you from site to site and even from your laptop to your phone. And the real kicker? A lot of these cookies aren't even essential for the website to work. Unsurprisingly, this whole situation has definitely caught the attention of regulators all around the globe. So let's see how the law is starting to square up against the cookie wall. I mean, this quote from the European Data Protection Board is about as crystal clear as it gets. They, along with national authorities in places like France and Belgium, have basically said that if there's no genuine choice, it's not compliant with the law. This really just sums up the core legal battle perfectly. And look, this isn't just a European issue. As you can see, the tide is turning pretty much everywhere. India's new Data Protection Act really emphasizes informed consent, which cookie walls directly challenge. Over in California, forcing someone to consent could be seen as illegally denying them their right to opt out of data sharing. The trend is obvious. Regulators are pushing for fairer options. Now, to be fair, there is a counterargument here. A lot of companies and publishers will say, hey, this data collection is what pays the bills for the free content that everybody enjoys. They argue that ad revenue depends on this data, and for them, cookie walls are just a necessary tool to keep their business model going. But that's not the whole story, because alternatives absolutely exist. Think about it. You've got contextual ads, which are based on the content of the page, not your personal browsing history, or even simple subscription models. The debate isn't really about whether websites should be able to make money. It's about whether they have to violate our privacy to do it. Okay, so if the coercive wall is the problem, what does a fair, compliant, and frankly, better solution actually look like? A fair banner is all about giving you a genuine choice. It starts with clarity, a simple message, and here's the big one: equally prominent buttons for both accept all and reject all. Crucially, there's no penalty. Your choice doesn't get you locked out. A good banner also gives you detailed control over different cookie types and makes it easy to change your mind later. It's really about putting the user back in the driver's seat. So, knowing what good looks like is one thing, but what can you, as a user, actually do right now when you're staring down one of these walls? You actually have more power here than you might think. First off, just resist that initial urge to click accept and hunt for the Manage Preferences link. You can also arm yourself with tools like tracker blocking extensions or switch to privacy-first browsers like Brave or Firefox. And if a cookie wall feels totally out of line, you can report it to your local data protection authority. And finally, you can always vote with your clicks and spend your time on sites that actually respect your choices. When you boil it all down, it really comes back to this one simple but really powerful idea. Real consent has to be a freely given signal of trust between you and a website. It can't be something that's forced out of you. So here's the final takeaway. The web can be both profitable and private. The technology is there. The business models exist. The real question we're left with is why, in so many corners of the internet, are we still being forced to choose between the two? Thanks for tuning in.